This lecture is focused on Africa just before the major European influences began through naval exploration. African cultures were very similar to Native American cultures in certain ways, but Africans were far less isolated from the rest of the world. Trade with Europeans and Asians influenced many cultures throughout the continent. In Guinea, where we're focusing, all of the common forms of food production were practiced, including hunting and gathering, fishing, and farming. Actually, agriculture was rampant here over 10,000 years before the first Europeans set foot on the continent. Throughout Guinea, gender roles were split in a pretty even way. Like in North America, agricultural duties were split between men and women. Many groups were polygamous, meaning men that had multiple wives, but religion stressed complementary gender roles. Still, there was a certain level of gender equality throughout the region. The political kingdoms found in this region were autonomous and small, and made up of collections of small villages. This meant that there were no major regional powers for much of the history that we're going to be discussing. Again, we can see some similarity with Native Americans who also did not have many large regional powers, at least not in the same way that we'd see in Europe. Religion was incredibly diverse in this region. Traders from North Africa brought Islam across the Sahara along with their goods for sale. Islam had a major impact on Upper Guineans, who traded regularly with these North African caravans, and Islam is now the most practiced religion in the region. Farther south in Guinea, however, agricultural peoples practiced animism, which is the belief in spiritual beings that inhabit the world. Again, you can see similarities with Native American cultures, which recognized and worshipped spirits in nature. Folklore from this region often starred animals like the trickster spider or the cunning monkey, both given very human personality traits. In these cultures, things in nature had spirits that were to be revered. One more important note: slaves existed in Africa before Europeans arrived there. Africans could be enslaved for committing crimes or to pay off debts or for losing in a battle. Disagreements and warfare between kingdoms encouraged slavery, and coastal kingdoms would soon begin selling slaves to visiting Europeans. Now, this is really just a bare bones understanding of African culture around this time period, and there's a reason for that. We're going to be focusing mostly on European navigation and exploration of Africa, and then the impact that that has on the New World. That's really what we want to be focusing on, rather than what was going on in Africa for most of this time period. So this gives you some understanding. There's more information in the book that you can read up on a little bit more. I think there's going to be a link on the website for an additional video that's not mine, that's pretty interesting if you want to learn more. Otherwise, that's pretty much it. One last thing I want you to just keep in mind is that for a group that would be seen as inferior to Europeans, once again we see with Africans clear evidence of a complex civilization that existed without the help from Europeans at all. So, or very little help from Europeans until much later on. So just keep that in mind. Again, we have another similarity between Native Americans and Africans, that they both had very complex civilizations and are still seen as inferior to Europeans by Europeans. Alright, if you have any questions, make sure that you leave a comment or bring it into class. Make sure you take the quiz, and that's it.